spread out around me is the Robertson wine valley, and tucked in the dip below is the boutique winery and restaurant Fraai Uitzicht. And Sandra and Karl, who own and run the estate, quit the city in Berlin more than 5 years ago to move out here. And I get it. To quit a lifestyle in the city for this just makes perfect sense. I could live out here.
My name is Justine Bonello. I've spent the last couple of years cooking in and traveling to some of the most beautiful and remote corners of Africa. Now it's time for me to lift my game, to replace the potjie pot with the double broiler and the primal fire with the oven. How? Well, over the next 3 months, I'm going to spend a couple of days a week at 13 of South Africa's best and most well-loved kitchens and restaurants, learning how to become a better cook.
I always used to joke that if I were to ever own a restaurant, it would have to be a country kitchen. One whereby I would have my vegetable patch, my lambs, my pigs, my cattle, everything on the farm itself. And I would fatten them up, kill them, grow my own veggies. And I would only be open 2 days a week and serve guests fresh produce from my own farm. And when you come to a space like Fraai Uitzicht, that's when I realized that it's something I have to do. That a space like this would be amazing. Here you have Sandra, who's the wizard in the kitchen, and Karl, who's the winemaker. And that combination is quite unique, because how many other restaurants do you go to where you have front of house and heart of house marrying up to produce a great food and wine pairing? And the nice thing is that because it's on a farm, you have all those elements that come from the farm itself. So she'll wander off to the garden and pick flowers and get rosemary and stuff. And all of that fresh farm produce will then translate onto the plate, which is amazing. Lots of rosemary, mangoes. You got your own mangoes? That's unusual here, though.
Yeah, they're the only two which survive. Everything else around here gets picked by the birds, like the figs as well. The birds are always quicker than us.
Jeez. Garlic chives, rosemary, lavender, perennial basil, artichokes.
That is horseradish.
Lovely.
Horseradish, and this is sage pineapple. Pineapple sage this way around.
It is lovely. And then nasturtiums, and you can eat the flowers and the leaves.
We need some.
You want flowers or leaves, ma'am?
Flowers only.
Flowers only.
Because only the flowers.
We're doing it right for you.
You're doing it right. You're doing very well.
I'm very jealous.
Yeah, that hatch there is...
Your vegetable patch is bigger than my whole house.
Oh, come on. I don't believe you.
It is too.
So we need to pick some rosemary as well. It's only for the decoration.
Very therapeutic.
It is.
Do you talk to your plants?
Of course I do.
I was expecting a bit of time to settle in, but it was more a case of straight out of the herb garden and into Sandra's kitchen. Okay, ma'am, what can I do to help out? Because I hate sitting still.
You have to wear something. Orange.
Orange.
Orange. I hope you like that one.
Oh, look at the... And how can you laugh as well, Karl? Thanks so much, eh? Just in training.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so 1 Ammersbusch, the first order now.
What are you making?
Just a little Ammersbusch.
Ammersbusch?
Just a bit chopped, that not too small. It should be still seeable that it's...
That it's vermicelli?
Yes.
Straight away, you can see that everything is suited to Sandra. She has her setup, and she knows how she likes her kitchen, and she does it that way, which is fantastic. This is a homely kitchen.
So you can put it straight in here.
Coriander, carrots, celery.
And then you can chop just a little bit.
And then soy, oyster sauce, and chili sauce.
And then you can put it in and just mix in it like a salad. Okay, what we're going to do now, we're having some wontons. And then you put it in the...
fried. So it's going to come out looking, in a sense, like a savoury ice cream.
Yes.
You know, it's always so embarrassing for me if you take a look at my one. You know, it doesn't look anything like yours.
That's right.
And so then from there, or once they've drained off, we would then just stuff them nice. And I just want to clean up the...
You can use
your tweezers.
Yes, Dr. Justine.
Service, please.
What do we serve here now?
It's
Thai noodle salad with beef fillet. And
Thai
fresh
noodle
coriander.
salad with beef.
Okay, let's try that. Thank you.
You can come with me.
Sure.
We need spring onions. We need tomatoes. I'm pretty much let the girls do everything. Coriander we have got outside. Then you can go once more going harvesting. Basil outside.
What other kitchen have I been to that has a sunset like that? What can I do next, ma'am? Spring onions. Washed
Chopped
and then...
fine in the rings, please. Is it fine for you if I send you washing?
Sure. I am...
You are my assistant tonight,
Yes.
yeah? In training. Good. I start on the marination. What I learned very quickly in the professional kitchen that you can't follow a recipe like in the cookery book. Soya sauce, I always use the one with less salt. A good
just
squeeze of
maple syrup.
maple syrup. A little bit skin in there. Have you filleted those things before? We need two. The next one you do. And then you cut the fillets out.
No, it's the coriander seeds that have just been roasted off.
Exactly. They're just been roasted off.
Works like a bomb, huh?
But you don't need to grind it. I want to have a little bit of pieces. Now we only need to cut the meat. Okay, for this one I always use a nice fillet. The bottom gets grilled, the top stays raw.
Okay.
So what we do, we cut the top. And as you see that the meat is very tender, we tie it a bit to keep it in shape.
I would never have thought of this. I can imagine already what's going to happen from here onwards.
Salt and pepper on the bottom. What we need to do now, we're putting the dressing. 2 tablespoons of this. Then also from your spring onions, only 1 spoon. We're using the fresh basil. I really cut that literally on order fresh then.
Well, otherwise the leaves
Otherwise
go
it's getting-
black and
Exactly. A little bit of that roasted coriander. This one we always have.
roasted pine nuts.
Pine nuts, exactly.
And then you're going to drizzle in some marinade.
So now we're putting the meat on. Just frying oil. When you have got a pan which is pretty new and you're always sticking your meat in, there's a nice trick. You're just putting it down and lifting it once again. And then it won't stick anymore. Because it has got a nice oily...
Something new already.
And now you open it up that the marination is actually can go in. And you just actually having that. I bring you a steak knife and a fork. Enjoy.
I eat steak tartare all the time. This is excellent.
And something you can do on the braai.
What are you smiling at? You've obviously had this before, Carl.
It's one of his favorites.
Unfair.
Is that your one there? For you.
Oh.
Carl, can I take this to the cellar?
Definitely.
I'll follow you. Cook, assistant winemaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just pour a little there. And do you punch it down now as well, Carl?
No, we do it tonight.
Tonight, still? Okay. Show me how. I'd like to give it a try. Another, do this tank.
Yes, it's harder.
It's harder to do. I see what you mean. You really do have to get down into it, huh? This mustn't fall in, Carl. I can see the hard crust you're talking about there.
I think it's enough, huh?
Okay.
Wonderful.
Carl, your life in South Africa must be amazing. It is.
Yeah, if I have somebody to help me, thank you very much.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Back to the kitchen.
Now we can sit down and having dinner. Or
But then, I mean, tomorrow I'm in the kitchen with you the whole day because I'm
Yes.
already, you've opened up my eyes. I feel like I've taken over your space a little bit. But
That was excellent. And it just excites me for what tomorrow holds.
Okay.
I didn't anticipate being in a kitchen where in the first day I get a little bit of a hint of what's going on, but not only that, I get to sit down in the restaurant and eat the food. That's a first. There's a synergy in this kitchen. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's like being in the kitchen with a flower child. You know what I mean? Normally, I would be standing in the cold room of a really hot kitchen, summing up my first impressions of a restaurant. Yet, this evening, I stand in the gardens of Fraai Uitzicht, happy. And let me just tell you that everyone at the table had smiling faces, was chatting, enjoying their wine. That's a sign of good food. So to be here for the next 2 days with Sandra in the kitchen, in the countryside, preparing food, glorious food, I think I'm into the money. It's day 2 at Fraai Uitzicht, 1798. And I'm completely invigorated. I mean, there's something about waking up in the countryside and to the sound of the birds and chickens crowing, odd cow mooing. It's nice. Our plan of action today is Sandra is going to be going through some of her signature dishes. We're going to do the prep for lunch and dinner. And in between, we're going to do an experiment. We found an old recipe for... More spolletjies, which is, I mean, it's appropriate that we on a boutique wine estate that we use the grapes for something. So we're going back like 200 years, and I'm going to make a bread that was made traditionally in the Western Cape during harvest.
Exactly.
And it's an experiment. We don't know how it's going to turn out.
No.
No. So
we will only see by tomorrow because it's a long process. It's only 2.5 kilos flour, 500 grams of sugar, 10 aniseed.
A little salt. I'm going to go and find your husband.
You want to get the must and I put that together.
You get the rest of the dry ingredients together.
Okay. Like them.
Carl! Like 1.25 liters of must, please.
Of must?
Yes.
Out of that stuff?
Out of that, yes.
Wonderful. Let's go in here.
I presume we've got to dig deep to get to the must.
Yes. Fingers on top, fingers on top.
So you just get the juice.
Deeper, 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 deeper.
No wonder you said you want me to do that. I only got half. I hope my hands don't stay pink.
The only thing which will be staying like this for a while is the fingernails. But then at least you can say I've been making wine.
So is that it? Everything's in?
The sugar in, the flour's in, the anise seed. You see, it's just a little bit of anise seed, so it's not too much. Yeah. Just a touch of nutmeg and salt. And now we need 1 to 5 only.
1.25 liters. And I mean, look at that.
And this is a butter which needs to be still.
Put that in first, huh?
Would you like to work with your hands? Or? Yes, of course.
This is taking a recipe that's maybe 150, 200 years old and seeing if it'll work.
And they were big families, so they had to feed them all.
This is our science experiment.
You like to have your fingers
no, we're using exactly.
Yeah.
You're really boxing. It's hard work.
How long did it say we have to knead it for?
Nothing. It's really like a nice dough now. It's nice and sticky, but not too sticky.
And I'm very excited. I really want to know what's going to happen.
We'll see what we made.
Okay. Then cover with a wet tea towel and leave in a warm place overnight.
How do I always end up mixing the dough? What we're hoping will happen is when we open it in a couple of hours, that it's double the size, or at least starting to grow.
Just let it relax.
So now, what are we going to do next?
Okay.
It's the big question, Sandra.
Yes, exactly. Since we want to do the vanilla prawn and pasta, that we start cleaning the prawns.
This kitchen's nice and relaxed. There's not sort of any pressure.
Yeah, but as you should always not forget, we are here to enjoy our life. I don't want to have a kitchen which is always pressure, because then I wouldn't enjoy it anymore. Therefore, we take a maximum amount of tables, a maximum amount of people to make sure that we still have time for our guests on the street. It's the atmosphere which we want to create with it. So.
Next step, ma'am.
Next step, we prepare the sauce and for the pasta for that.
Okay. So we're just preparing big quantities now, and this is for the cream that we'll add in right at the end, just
Exactly.
before we serve.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh, so you split it between the butter for service and then the cream that you're going to add up
For the
after.
pasta itself. Now the vanilla.
All right, so
Curry,
we put in the curry
cinnamon.
and the cinnamon.
Good. And then we're just putting it on a very low heat just to get it melted. Yeah.
What I really like about this kitchen is it feels like an old school inn. The tavern keeper and his wife would work in unison together. He would be responsible for beverages, which Karl is. He makes his wine, he looks after that sort of attention to detail that keeps customers happy. And Sandra does the food. And because she had no formal training as a chef or a cook, she's had to figure out all the ways that work for her. And it's nice. It makes it feel like home. Okay, so next up we're making oven-dried tomatoes. A real trick with tomatoes that if you want to peel them is to put them in hot water, just let them rest for a couple of minutes, and then put them into cold water, and that refreshing of them will help the skins come off easily. And then we cut out the hearts.
Sprinkle that on the tomatoes, salt and pepper, a bit of icing sugar, then you just dust it. And just a bit of garlic.
A squeeze of olive oil.
Yeah, just a bit.
And into the oven.
Into the oven, 80 degrees for 4 hours.
I have this whole day of preparation, and now we're on to panna cotta. I'm just going to open the bottom and squeeze the juice out. Sandra,
Yeah.
this trick of yours of getting the jelly off the granadella pips.
A simple thing like this. Just blend it for a few seconds, not too long, because you don't want to break the pips. So now you have got sort of the juice, and we're putting it through a strainer. The basic recipe for the panna cotta, normally I have 500 milliliters cream and 2 leaves of gelatine.
Two leaves of gelatine?
Only, yeah,
Only
because we
2
don't want to have a stiff cake. We want to have something melting on your tongue. And just 50 grams of sugar. And then we're putting it on the low heat on the stove. And
This
then,
one?
Yes.
Just to get it
Only
infused?
put the gelatine into the cold water.
2 minutes.
5 maximum.
5 maximum.
Squeezing the gelatina, bring this, now you drop it. It goes very quick, it's melting now very quick. And then 3 in each is the portion.
Oh, you put the lids on?
Yeah, put the lids on.
Everywhere in your kitchen, even your cold room, your kitchen, everything has a spot.
German, I'm sorry. So where's your chocolate?
You're going to come help me, babes?
Of course. Okay. Oh.
Smell is delicious, eh? Baking flour. Cake flour. Cooking it up nicely and stuff as well.
Yeah, but this gives the cake.
So what do we do now, Bonello? Finished.
Yes.
Now we just hide it away.
Yes.
So you know what? You tease me the whole day. Like, you know, it's like seeing it all come together.
We actually made the experience that when it's been cooled down once properly in the fridge, that we have got the best results having it baked. So.
I can still see. Oh no, I'm just.
Shall I take it off?
Oh.
Good. So we are taking it now quite slowly, and you have got a break, I have got a break, and I see you back at 7. And it seems like that we are not madly busy for dinner, but we have got a big table of 8, and I would love you to help me.
Be my pleasure.
Okay. See you. The special main course I have tonight is a beef fillet and a lime espresso juice. So I just reduced the beef stock already, and now we're getting an espresso from our beautiful espresso machine.
Look at that.
Just put it in. It's nice. Just a little bit of cream. We're switching it on a low heat, and then just take a lime, and I just take the skin off. And then this one you just put in.
Just the whole thing?
The whole thing. And now we leave it a little bit simmering.
Right, and reduce down.
Reduce it a bit.
Okay.
So that's it.
So, Service about to start.
Service about to start. Your turn will be the steak tartare once again.
Yes,
There.
and I will fill in everywhere, you'll see.
Okay, so
I just
we-
watch it once.
And then you know it because you are in training. I know.
To think this is the beginning of service, if this was any other restaurant kitchen, it would be a blind panic by now.
Something called leek trout, but starter portion, and beef special sauce, medium to well.
The other nice thing about this kitchen is that there is not that same sort of pressure. The food is ready when it's been made with some love and prepared with love.
Order table for 3 now. You go for 1 soup with the orange butternut, and
Yes.
then 2 tartare.
Cups back, please. I need 8. 6, actually 2 I have. Taking 1, Jerry. Okay.
Service.
There's 1 pasta and prawn as well, so we get something to do. Either I do the pasta and you do the prawn. See, that's sticky, yeah.
Those are ready.
Okay, the pasta is ready. The next table will be 11, which has got a lady special with lime espresso juice. What's then the big ones? Yes, this one. Just over the steak and in front, running it down the lime leaves. Okay, that's the first table. We're sending that out. Table 11.
Service. Are you making it, my darling?
Yes.
I feel like I'm doing a waltz in the kitchen. It's only 20 past 10.
10, and we are eating now.
Till tomorrow.
Come on, see you tomorrow.
All in all, today was a great day. My challenge now is to, well, it's not even a challenge. You know that Sandra and Karl have been in South Africa for 5 years, straight from Berlin, and they've never had a potjie. So tomorrow I get to do a potjie for them. Be the first person to cook a potjie for them, which is brilliant. Yeah, nice. So today, Sandra gets to do lunch and is fully booked, and I get to do dinner. Look at that. It's coming up like a dream, eh? I didn't think it would work, but now it's got to go into the pot. Now, the trick with the potjie is that you have to use a fatty meat. Don't use any game unless it's got lots of fat in it. In this case, that's why I'm using a lamb neck. I mean, you can see that marble in there, that fat in the meat, etc. So we're going to start off by just flouring the meat in some seasoned flour. We're going to seal that off nicely, take the meat out of the pot, and then we're going to chuck in leeks, garlic, and onion. Just braise that a bit. We're going to put the meat back in, cover that with some lovely stock and some red wine, and let that simmer. And I say simmer gently for a few hours. By the end of it, the meat will come off tender to the bone. We'll only add the vegetables towards the end of the process so that they're still crisp and chunky and not overcooked. And then the last step is to prepare our mussbread that we made yesterday, and you can see how it's risen like that. You're going to make a whole lot of balls, but you're going to coat them in oil, and then you're going to line them all around the outside of the pot. And then that last bit of dough you've got left, oil it as well, and put it in the center. Now you can imagine what will happen is when it rises like that, you'll end up with a loaf of bread that looks like a flower, and you'll be able to break off all the petals and eat it, and then there'll be a nice bread inside. All right, there's the bread. This is the part where I can't get the heavy one. I'm going to have to carry it like, hey, flip.
I'm going to take a break. Yeah? No, Butti, this is a heavy one. Oh, that's a good idea. No, many hands make light work. Here I sit yet again at the end of an incredible couple of days with Sandra and Karl. And what do I take out of it? I don't even know where to begin. Firstly, I think it's a celebration of being South African and becoming South African. You know, Sandra and Karl arrived out of Germany 5 years ago to make a life for themselves, and here I get to make their first potjie, and it's a celebration of being South African. You can put me in a 5-star restaurant, hotel, or whatever the case is, but at the end of the day, I'm going to be happy as here. This is where I know I belong. Right here in the great outdoors.